Hello guys, you're welcome to Minority Report Nigeria. I am Chidozie.
And I'm Walter.
Happy New Year. So it's like the 15th, but this is New Year for us. We haven't done this in a while.
Yes.
And I love to say we've been doing something grand, but
life has been happening.
It has.
It's been pushing us back and front, back, left, right, center, everywhere. But yeah, we are here. We're surviving. We're
but hopefully it's done enough of that. Because,
every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Because it's a new year, we have to talk about something that happened in the last year, because it's very, very important that conversation of what happened that last year and then be addressed.
Oh my goodness.
It's something that should inform how we move forward in this 2020.
Really gross. So at the end of the year, while people still get to December and are spending money that they should have been saving for January, journalist Kikimodi tweeted something about how we're about to enter another decade and gay people still could not be married or
they can love each other.
Yes, and
but they
still
can't
not be able
have
to
families the way others can.
Yeah, something as simple as that. But then it caused such a storm.
Like
Nigerian
viral
Twitter.
tweets upon all viral tweets.
It was
End of
insane.
viral tweets.
Like for days, it was burning. And for me, at first I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because it just seemed like such a weird thing, to be happening. It doesn't seem like what's going on. Is it that we've been screaming into the void all this time?
Because
are these streets so that insular? Like, what the heck is happening?
It was baffling, because these are conversations we have been having every time. It just felt like all the conversations that has been going on, all the visibility and everything has
been happening in an echo chamber.
Exactly.
It was a really daunting moment, and it's stressed for me the importance of reflection. Looking at where we have been and where we are going, and we talk a lot in very blanket ways about progress that has been made, but I think it's stressed for me how important it is to actually gauge though that progress that we talk about all the time, because it was a very stressful couple of days, because the madness. And first of all, like, something that really, really annoyed me was just the animal boldness of a lot of people who consider themselves to be opposite sex attracted, and how much power they ascribe to themselves in relation to their fellow citizens who just had a different sexual orientation from them.
It felt like, and the way this storm was going on, felt like these people were they felt like to themselves like they had a power, like a position of benevolence. Oh well, no, we are not giving it to you people because blah 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 blah. You just sit there.
There was a lot of
it was
stupid rationalization.
Yes,
going all over the place.
And these are very repetitive sentiments, and nothing was new. That was especially why it was very stressful, because these are things that have been said over and over again that don't make sense.
It just goes to show that literally what we say all the time, that nobody hands anybody rights. Like, there are things that you have to fight for when you're already in a disadvantaged position, in a position where in a position of being oppressed or being marginalized. These are things you have to fight for, because that is the status quo. Your oppression is then the status quo, and it's something that you have to actively push against. Nobody's going to wake up and be like, these people have tried to take your rights. It's never going to happen.
And it's not
which makes this sort of people who sort of stress this whole respectability politics thing. It just goes to show that all of that
has
always been and will continue to be nonsense.
It's very important to understand that in 2020, moving forward, if you're somebody who's interested in having your rights as an LGBT individual recognized, you don't just sit and wait for when the gay people will understand that you have a right to exist.
Or you
and then
mean the
just-
non-gay people?
On that note, we decided, you know what, there is a mood we have to have in this year of
the pepper
gay
jam
reigning.
mood.
You know,
That gay the
like get the rain mood. There's this mood we have to have in 2020.
Est-ce que les bébés, si on les bébés?
First of all, depopulate our conversation. You know, depopulate anything heterosexual and concerning heterosexual people, anything that alludes to them in our conversation, because they take up too much space generally.
Jesus
like,
Christ.
please, next.
We have them in our workplaces, we have them on the roadside, we have them in the market. Can we not have them in our conversations too? Can we not have them central in our lives as well?
We also think it's important in this year to call a spade, particularly in relation to, you know, person's sexual attraction, how a person is, how they express that sexual attraction and orientation. You know, things like I am into men, or I am into women, I do men and women, like, oh, she importer exporter, like, how do you get into this business? You do men, you are into men, like, okay, where do we buy them? How do we buy shares in this your business? So, all those kind of deflective language are things that we should do better than call a spade a spade.
If you're gay, say you're gay. If you're lesbian, say you're lesbian. There's a sense of apology in these statements.
Yeah.
Like you are apologizing for existing. Oh, I just sleep with men. I'm not gay, really. Or I do men. What are you doing
Whatever
to
the
this
fuck
man?
that
Always maintain this. Language is a very important thing.
Yes.
It's a very important thing, and the way you speak about what you identify is very, very important, especially in spaces where there is room for someone to misconstrue what you're saying. And I remember there's an endless amount of shock I get whenever, even in queer spaces and in mainstream spaces, like whenever I say something and I'm saying, so I'm gay, and there's like, what?
I will never get used to that. Like, the whole, it's like, what?
There's like this recoil, especially from queer people, that like, do you have to say that out loud?
Exactly, like it's a bad word.
But the more you affirm that, the more you say that, you know,
The more it's normalized. And I mean,
the less taboo it becomes. You take away the power from something when you speak it
Yes.
into existence. You see?
you see,
Speak
you're
your
going
G.
straight to church. Something else we need less of this year is the class wars. You know, while I agree that there are many ways in which, obviously, the access you have, or, you know, in terms of, you know, proximity to power, economic, political, whatever, affects, obviously, reflects on how you experience things as a gay person or bisexual person, whatever. While I agree that that is true, there comes a point where sort of like stressing this fact then becomes a classist thing. Because, you know, there was this whole thread towards the end of last year where people were sort of suggesting that it's not a crime to be gay in Nigeria, the crime is being poor. And that's sort of like, yeah, while I understand what that premise is it gets the question then becomes disingenuous, like, okay, does this cancel the other out? So if everybody now, you know, you come out and give everybody 50 million naira or whatever, and everybody's rich, so, you know, does
that solve our problem?
Does that solve our problem? Does the homophobia then go away? So it has got to the point where that argument is now becoming disingenuous,
and
it's becoming a way to.
It's no longer an argument that is thrown out to point at the well, I want to say unfairness, but it feels wrong. That argument is used to be trotted out to talk about the existence of homophobia. It is as to accuse homophobia, but it's no longer
also acknowledging that there is a double standard.
I don't know. It's a hypocrisy of homophobia.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. It accuses homophobia, but now it's just seen as a way of
shutting down people who don't have that access. It also almost makes it as though you know, you are dealing with homophobia, then it's your fault. You should walk your way out of.
Exactly. Exactly.
gutter.
This is infuriating and it's exasperating because, you know, that thing where it comes back to saying this issue about how language matters. When you say you can't be gay and poor in Nigeria, it just blows
It's
my
so
mind
fucking weird.
because it obliterates, completely erases an entire section of Nigerians who are in fact gay and poor. It also creates a problem where when you are having conversations about gay rights in Nigeria, it feels like every the tone of the conversation always feels centered on the privileged gays, and that is the only bracket of people you acknowledge as the people who are gay. The way it shapes conversations surrounding gay rights in Nigeria does not make you, even and in an unconscionable way, there are people who they mean well, but at the same time when they are talking about gay rights in Nigeria, even gay people themselves, they just don't, they find themselves unconsciously not addressing anyone who is not of a certain status, a certain standing in Nigeria.
Those people are just invisibilized.
Yeah, and this creates a problem, especially when we are doing surveys and trying to and talk about how we've moved in the gay rights movement in Nigeria. It feels like as if all the responses and all the conversations are directed at a certain demographic of gay people in Nigeria. It is a conversation that needs to belong where it is as a way to interrogate homophobia and its hypocrisy and the double standards that exist when homophobia is, and not as a way to discriminate or as a way to censure gay people. Please, can we stop saying you can't be gay and poor in Nigeria? Can
Please not. Thank you.
Just not, you know?
PSA. Respectability politics.
In the same line. Oh, Jesus Christ.
That needs to be fucking dead already. The whole, this idea that you have to be a certain sort of person to talk about, human rights. That you have to be this desexualized person. You don't talk about sex and all of that. You don't do any of that. You have to constantly be this uptight, suit and tie person.
A pillar of repute.
Whatever the fuck that means.
You have to when you are out and you are talking serious talk about gay people, you better not be giving people the impression that you're having sex. No, we do not want to know that you're having sex. We do not want to see
it derails from the conversation in some way. And what I always ask is, I'm sorry, how? Can you explain to me? And then it's crickets. How does this derail from the conversation? Why does a person need to be desexualized in order to have a conversation about their human rights? And what has it's just mind-boggling.
Because actually, here's the funny thing: it is the sex that is actively persecuted by the homophobic Nigerians. Yeah. So how do you, in having a conversation about gay
which is
rights,
the locus of all the conflict,
exactly,
and then somehow you want it to be removed. So what exactly
are you addressing?
We'll be talking about then? It's like,
it just.
Another one I really, really like. It's one of my favorite stupidities. It's it's this one, and you're more likely to hear from gay people. This what's it called? There's more to you than your sexuality. You don't need to talk about it all the time. It's like, okay, I mean, what more? Yes, there is more. We know there is more, but we are literally talking about sexual rights, which is very closely tied to my sexuality. So and what is the more I'm going to talk about in the context of the fight for sexual rights?
And I'm sorry, but when the issue of oppression of the minority comes up, they are not oppressing the part about me that is a successful banker. They are not oppressing the part about me that writes very well. They're not oppressing the part about me that is a Facebook celebrity. What they're oppressing is my sexual orientation. For fuck's sake, what are we going to talk about?
How exactly do you even extricate one part from the other and say, okay, I am a writer, and this writer is separate from my sexuality is such a fierce. And then I am like, what exactly really?
Here's where it's very mind-boggling, because when you are on your timeline, just on your social media timeline, just sharing another story about how your heart was broken by a boy, or just
And that has
randomly
happened to a lot
talking
of
about,
people or something.
and then somebody blows into your inbox to tell you, but you're sharing too much of your sexuality. There's more to sexuality. I used to enjoy the time when you used to write more stories in your timeline. I'm thinking, okay, but just hold on a second. So I go and I whip out the timeline of somebody who is presumably straight, and I show, but this person did talk about how her husband did this to her, or this person did talk about how he met this girl,
and you clearly didn't have a problem with that.
so how come you're in here lecturing me on my own personal experiences that I'm sharing, just like the next person who is presumably straight? What is the difference? He said, but now that one is normal. Yeah, exactly. That's my point. I am trying to normalize my own experience too. That is why I'm talking about it, for heaven's sake. So can we please stop with the whole putting sexuality on the back burner, trying to separate it from you, because there is no separate. It's one person. I am everything together, and I can talk about all the sex that I'm having, and you shouldn't have a problem with that.
Don't shove it down our throat. So yeah, this is our catechism for the new year. Hopefully it's something that would there are tidbits that would help our viewers in going about their lives in this new year, and just how they choose to engage with society at large. So on that note, we are going to end today's episode until you come your way next time.
Wait, hold on. In 2020, please always understand Nagede ring.
Yeah, hashtag. /Pepedem.
Bye.
Until you come your way next time, cheers you.
And I want
Toodles.